Hello, hello.
Hello,
Welcome, welcome, Kurt. We are finally on screen together.
so
What
to
am I
speak.
saying? So to speak, right? Us and our avatars, So West Side Reacts. Anybody who doesn't know, this is Kurt, Mr. Melot. West Side Reacts. Channel link below. Does all very, very original reacts for classical music that I find very inspiring. Actually, I love watching somebody's first take on stuff. It's a brilliant idea, by the way. So
Yeah, and we got a little bit better. We're trying something new, so you could actually see a better take of Na now. That Na's in Ghana, so it's really hard to
mm,
stream something together with her. So now
mm,
I'm sending her the songs, and she's recording herself watching the song. So you do get that fresh reaction
oh, there
because
you
the only
go.
thing we could use is Zoom, and that's not the best for this.
Oh, it does help then with the connections and everything because I imagine that was a nightmare trying
Oh
to.
yeah, uh
Yeah,
huh.
yeah. So everybody, check out the channel link below. But let's get like this episode. Hotel Reverie is like for me. It's definitely Black Mirror, but it's fresh. It's just something totally different for me. It was it was different enough to where I was like, am I sure this is Black Mirror? Like, kind of reminded me a little bit of an old Twilight Zone episode, like it just had that kind of feel to me. Well,
Right, yeah. And actually, I looked up the definition of reverie,
mhm.
and it says a state of being pleasantly lost in one's thoughts or a daydream. And that does sum up this episode.
It really does, based on what happened. Why don't we, for those that may not have seen it, or just as a refresher for anybody watching later, why don't you why don't you tell us like the summation of what this episode is about, just like a
Okay,
brief.
it starts off with some people talking about some classic movies. It opens with the movie itself, if I remember correctly.
Oh, you mean
Uh,
the original
the
version of
original Hotel Reverie, a black and white movie, kind of set up as a 40s murder mystery type movie, uh, and a love story at the same time, kind of
Mhm.
Casablanca ish with a murder in it, I would say, or an attempted murder.
Uh,
And she's the studio boss. Is wanting to sell her back catalog because her studio's going broke, and she's like, they're NFI, and they're trying to figure out what NFI means. And it's you. Is it okay to say what NFI means on this channel?
yep, absolutely. This channel
Okay,
knows it.
NFI means not fucking interested.
Exactly. It's like, nobody wants to hear that, do they? And
No,
yeah, this is the studio here. It's a what is Kenworth is Keyworth Pictures, right? Judith Keyworth.
right,
And she's older, right? And she's gone through the process and she's like, she wants to refresh everything. It's really, yeah. And for her to use that term, that really took me back. I was like, wow,
right,
she's
yeah, yeah, because you don't think she's going to be tech savvy enough, but knows
yeah,
this.
yeah. She's
And
talking to a young assistant when she says it, and they don't know what it is. And I'm like, really? Like, that's kind of like, really?
right, and then they get the idea that they want to remake one of her biggest movies, The Hotel Reverie, and they want to put a modern star into it. And one of the modern stars they wanted was either one of the Ryans.
They gave Gosling and Reynolds a big shout
Right.
out.
Uh,
Yeah, let's go get a Ryan.
yeah, just a Ryan.
Just a Ryan. Any Ryan will do. Like, yeah. Well, yeah, it must have been a tough position. I can actually feel for the person. Like their business is just like there's nobody interested. You try to refresh it, but you don't want to go away from your original love of it. You built a company, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's like,
And so they're going into that. Then we cut over to an actress in Los Angeles talking with her agent about wanting a better part because she's always the femme fatale or the fuckable sidekick, as she says.
mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the character Brandy Friday, the actress that was played by Issa Rae. Yeah.
Right, and there's another Doctor Who reference right there, but we'll get to that eventually.
Okay.
So, and she's talking with her agent, who's only like half paying attention to her, and she says something about Hotel Reverie, and he's like, something just came across it. They wanted to make it, and both the Ryans turned it down. And she's like, well, I'm interested. He's like, I thought you didn't want the love interest part anymore, the heartbreaker. And she's like, no, I want to play the lead and completely change the story around. And he's like, okay, I'll put you down. And then they cut back to the studio in England, and they find out that both the Ryans turned it down. The Who else turned it down?
Oh, I don't remember.
Thor turned it down.
Yeah.
The one young kid that plays Willy Wonka, that's in everything now. He was busy.
Yeah. Everybody, they just had a long list of all A-list actors, and nobody
Right.
wanted. All the men didn't want it. So
All the men didn't want it,
mm-mm.
and so they get her to play against type, and they're excited because she's a big name, and they decide, oh, we're gonna play it against type. That we're going to have her play the lead in this 40s movie and make it a lesbian love story.
Different.
They're
going to put a twist on it while they're trying to do it, because but she doesn't really know what she's signing up for, does she?
No, she doesn't know yet. But then they're going to shoot it in 90 minutes. They said it's as long as the movie, because what they do is they use the Black Mirror technology, which is always the little thing that goes on your forehead.
Like a nobbin. The little tiny thing, the nobbin. Yeah.
Right. And they put her into the movie. And like a holodeck episode from Star Trek The Next Generation, just like that. And
that part is fascinating, because what they do there, which we'll get into more detail later, is like amazing. Like, just that blew me away.
And of course, so she's acting in the movie, playing against type, and plot twist, of course they get stuck in there.
Of course.
And time starts progressing for them. They said every second is like 3 months or something like that. So in the movie, her and the one actress, the lead actress, what was her name? Claire. Was it Claire?
She plays Dorothy Chambers.
Dorothy Chambers.
The actress, but she plays Clara in the movie.
Clara. Yeah, okay. You're Claire. Clara.
Right.
And somehow she breaks the fourth wall, and she's not affected by the shutdown like all the other movie characters are. They're all frozen in place. But I forgot. But the two actresses, they fall in love with each other and go on, and she's trying to explain to her what's going on with the outside world, and it takes them a little while to adapt to that, or she does. Right. And then they finally get the computer working, and basically they reset it to the scene they just left off with. And so, of course, she loses her memory of being in love. And they finish up the movie in a different way. And do I want to throw the spoiler in the ending? Or do we want to wait for that?
No, let's wait for the ending. But let's just talk about everything that's happened so far. First of all, it's actually this great beginning when you meet Brandy Friday. That's the character, and she's played by Issa Rae, and she's a little disenchanted with her career right now, because she's been typecast as, like you said, the action person, or the person they want to be with, the sidekick that's the eye candy, or the romance angle of the whole.
And even when the delivery girl comes up to the house, doesn't talk about her acting. She knows she's an actress, but she's just talking about her male leads that she's with.
Exactly. What a way to make the point. This is the thing with the writing that gets me like every time is that they have these little ways and these little visuals, just like the look on the girl, the delivery person's face, like, oh, I know you. And she's like, oh, yeah, you were great in this. And then she tells her she was great in this other thing. But then she starts talking about the male lead right away. And you can just see on Brandy's face, the like, hi, here we go. Like, just, yeah, okay.
And
Like,
it was kind of Chris Farley-ish too when he was on SNL. Do you remember
mhm.
that scene in the movie you did when you were fishing? That was
Uh-uh.
great. Huh?
Mhm. Yeah,
A
right?
little bit of that.
Just like just throwing it in there, just like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
like yeah. But yeah, it was just like she's so disenchanted and everything. And this is like an opportunity because like she thinks she's going to be in like a regular production movie, that she's going to play a male lead as the female and just turn everything on its ear and really be able to use her acting chops, like really, really go for it. And she gets the
Exactly.
package. She gets the package. And unfortunately, when she opens the package, it has a movie in it to watch, and it has the lines. And out as she's ripping it open, a USB flies out and goes on the floor. And I
Okay.
admit,
See, that's where I
went,
I can't
uh-oh.
suspend disbelief.
I went, uh-oh. No, this does happen. Like it happens to me all the time. Like,
No, a thousand legger while you're watching TV in the dark runs across the corner of your ceiling, little thousand legger thing. You see it out of the corner of your eye and you know it's there. You can't miss a flash
like,
drive falling out on the floor
no,
making noise.
yeah, but no, it fell on a carpet, number one, and it's right next to the breakfast bar in front of the stool. So I actually believed it. I said, yeah, that could happen. And I was like,
I nope, I can't suspend my disbelief for that.
okay, okay,
Going in and acting with a movie, I could
okay,
go with, but dropping
okay,
the drive and not seeing it, I can't.
okay. In the score of director against Kurt gets a point over here. Okay, Kurt gets 1 point there. I'll grant you that. Like, I guess a lot of people might go with that
Yeah,
one. To me,
it's like a thing with me. It's like the movie Overlord. I could suspend disbelief for Nazi zombies. That's no problem. But they had the 101st Airborne integrated. That just
yeah.
wasn't a thing.
That just wasn't, yeah, that just wasn't possible. But for me, at least it opened the door. Like, how is she going to be able to like deal with this if she knew about it ahead of time? The whole premise is that she doesn't know about it ahead of time. She doesn't have
Right,
time to
yeah.
in anything. She's going in blind. She knows all her lines. She does her research. She's researching the character Clara, but she's researching the actress. And in her research of the actress, she finds out some tragedies. The actress is no longer alive. Or the actress has some issues. There was something about Hollywood that really destroyed her.
Yeah, she committed suicide with sleeping pills.
Yeah, she did, but like for her, she was like, "Wow, like why? Like
Right,
like why?
exactly.
Like
Why?
she
And
was so
that's
young. It was at the epitome of her career. She was. I mean, this was at the height of Dorothy Chambers' career, from what they said in the news things that they're flashing at us and
right.
everything like that. Um, and so she's immediately like, "Wow, there's like a backstory here, and there's a backstory for us too, because it becomes important as we go forward, because there was something in her life that it was pretty traumatic. She wasn't dealing. It wasn't just the height of her career that did it. So she goes into the movies, right? She meets with the head of Keyworth. She
Hmm.
meets with the woman. She meets the assistant Kimmy, played by Awkwafina. She was just charming. She was, I really liked her performance in this. Actually, she was quite charming. The woman who played the actress, actually, who played, where's my thing? The actress who played the head of the studio that they're working for, Judith Keyworth, was played by Harriet Water. Is it Water? It's Water or Waiter. And I've seen her in so many things and I can never remember her name. But she has one of those character actor faces, like, you remember her, but you don't remember exactly why you remember her.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
She's like a substitute Judy Dench, something like that. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, we need
something
the
like
older
that.
English lady, but we don't have the money to get them, so we're going to put
So
her in it.
let's go get Harriet Wade or her wife
Yeah,
or whatever it is. Let's go get Harriet, But she does do a good job. She's an older. She's like really hip. She's owns her own company, wants to revive it, and she's much more modern even than Awkwafina. But Awkwafina brings in this technology called Redream, and here's where it gets like really crazy. That USB had the whole like what they were going to expect this Brandy to do, you know.
right.
And she gets there and they find out she didn't actually, she knows her lines and everything, but she didn't read the package. So they only have the studio for a limited amount of time. And like you said, they're going to make a movie in 90 minutes because they're depending on AI technology. All the set is built
Yeah,
inside
the
the
editing's all done. All the
Mhm.
blocking's done. So yeah, it's just plug and play.
Right. All of the characters are AI and they're all based on the original film. The only thing that's going to change from the original film is that Brandy's going to go in there as this new character, but everybody's going to know her as the original character's name, Alex Palmer, but they're going to accept that she's the lead. And then everything has to be prompted by the way it's programmed, by the actual things that happen in the original movie. It's all
Right.
designed to go like that. And it kind of builds on it. So like she's supposed to say a certain thing at a certain time, which keys everything else to move in sequence, so to speak. And that's the problem because you you're
Yeah.
putting a human in a artificial simulated
But I
process.
also like that she even pointed out some of the problems with doing this is I'm a black female in the 1940s. How the hell am I a doctor? And how are they going to believe that I'm a doctor?
I know. And she said, but it's all built in. They're just going to accept it. They just
Yeah,
like
but I at least appreciate that she called that out.
she did. And they made it real because that's it. Like that's what I loved about it. Besides the beautiful imagery. I mean, can you talk to me a little bit about that? The beautiful imagery of the black and white film. They're going to be remaking a black and white film, so everything we see is black and white majority of the time. And just the depths in the photography, the way the cinematographer did this one, who is Philipp Haberlandt, by the way, and he did just an amazing job of making black and white pop out of old black and white. Like there's
Yeah.
just enough there to make it look like it might be older, but it's fresh and new and the edges are all crisp and like, the innuendos are all there. It it was brilliant actually. Not easy to do from what I understand, and it was really good to see.
Yeah,
That
no,
it
it had a good aged look to it, like you were watching an old movie that they remastered for HD.
Mhm,
It had a good look to it.
mhm. But the flow was more modern and the edges were crisper. You know how in black and white films everything seems um a
Softer,
little
a little
softer
blur.
and
Yeah.
flatter, a little blurrier, a little like less, like almost two-dimensional compared to three-dimensional, I would
Yeah, I
say.
think that's
Yeah.
because no one knows how to light a black and white set anymore like they used
Exactly.
to. That's
It
an
had
art form.
It had to do with the equipment, the cameras that were available, the lighting, what they've learned since then. And that's why, like, I always like to talk about the cinematography too, the way that they're presenting things, because Charlie Brooker does have an amazing talent for bringing together people that understand what he's trying to convey and like just jump, like meet the bar and then some in getting it out there with the visuals and the little tiny things that add to it, that actually make the story even better than what he put into words. And the way the cinematography was done actually does that. It enhances the whole thing. Especially the way they do the lighting, especially on the main characters. Did you notice that the two main characters always pop more than anything else
Right.
that's going on? They are a front of everything else, and it's like brilliant. It's like you have no choice but to focus on their expression, on their mannerisms, on what they're doing, on every part of them. That just brilliant. Hmm.
Yeah,
So
it was fantastic looking. It was definitely one
mhm,
he did know how to do the black and white, and I was
mhm,
really happy to see that.
yeah. So
It,
they go ahead. I didn't mean to
I
cut you
said
off.
it wasn't like a supernatural episode when they go to black and white world.
Yeah, and on those they're purposely fuzzy and aged
Yeah.
looking, and like they're gonna fall apart because you're playing it on the projector or something.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. This definitely was fresh. It definitely was good, and I appreciate it. But um, so the new technology, she doesn't know anything about it, but she's learning, and she's kind of Kimmy's trying to like deal with this on her feet, like, coming up with this news that she's like, she doesn't have any time. They're pressed for time because they only have the warehouse that they're shooting for a little bit. The computers are all ready to go. They got to get it done. She doesn't have time to explain to her all the great details of everything. Just that it's okay. You're going to go in there. Everybody knows their lines. They're just going to accept you. Like you said, she brings up the issue once she gets in there. Like, this is crazy. Like, I'm a black woman and they think I'm a white doctor from the 40s. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? And they just smooth that over. And she's laying on this bed with the nubbin on her head, and her body's in stasis, so to speak. It's her consciousness that they put into the film in a form. Okay. And she's trying to understand how she reacts with everything, and it's reacting to her. And they just say, you just have to stay on clip with your lines. It's all like they tell her
Right.
sequential, and she's quick about grasping the concept.
Right. And they can communicate with her. She is able to
Mhm.
hear the studio.
Yeah, she has a calm on with Kimmy, the assistant, while the computers are going crazy. They got like a person there working on the script details. They have all this amazing like technology going on and off on whether the storyline's going to progress or it's in the danger zone, just in case anything happens. It's really weird. The Redream technology, like just the thought of it was pretty amazing. Although using AI a little bit now, like I kind of get like that is possibly, I bet you this is actually possible right now. Not putting a live person in there, but actually remanufacturing a set from an old movie like
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah.
And being able to put like maybe not a live person, but an AI character in there that's live fed by calm into what it says and does. It's totally possible. I can see that it's totally possible, like right now. We see it every day with AI made videos, that don't have any live people in them. It looks like live people, but they're not. So I'm sure it's possible, and
Yeah. It
it's
was weird too because they were able to adapt to, like, there wasn't exactly, everyone wasn't on script. They were able to improvise if they heard something different from the script,
mm-hmm.
which was a nice touch.
Yeah, yeah. And it because they had to adapt, but they had to keep certain key moments in play to lead to the next one to lead. There had to be what they called a trigger event. Like they kept mentioning trigger events, this trigger event, this, which would spawn the computer on into the next sequence, so to speak, in the required direction, because it could go the other way. And you kind of find out during it, like you said, like they find out during it when something happens out of ordinary. I think it all started with the dog in the poison drink, because part of the backstory in the Hotel Reverie original is that uh Clara meets the doctor while her husband's trying to kill her. And one of the things is a poison martini, and she's not
Right.
supposed to drink it. The old lady with the dog, who's really annoying. I mean, they did good with these side characters that are like really annoying. And they're supposed to be annoying. And everybody admits that they're annoying and says it out loud, which was refreshing. To watch Brandy just respond to how annoying this person was great. Because, those kind of things we didn't get to see in the real black and whites. So like,
Right.
so the dog, she's not allowed, Clara's not allowed to sit there. That's how she gets to sit with the doctor and they meet, but there's this whole poison drink scene that's supposed to happen. And so she takes the drink and dumps it in a plant, or at the side of a plant, and at the
Yeah. And
base
the
of the
water
plant,
dish and the plant. Yeah. The
yeah,
basin.
yeah. It kind of pulls at the bottom. And so, they start to get off track. They stay on track because of that. But the piano scene, right? Like that was
Yeah.
hysterical. In the
Yeah.
original
That was
movie, she gets Clara as the character gets swooned over by the doctor because he can play her favorite song on the piano, and it just sends her away, and they start a conversation in whatever.
I think
And
Charlie wrote this episode for you, Claire, because Clara, and now what's her favorite song? Claire de Lune. So I
It
think
is one of my
Charlie
favorites.
Brooker's throwing something out there for you.
Well, he's invited to dinner. I always say, like, I tell everybody that I hang out, even my most intimate partners, if Charlie ever asks, he can come to dinner
He's
at
your
any.
hall pass.
No, he's not my hall pass. I don't know. He's an old English man. This is not anything I'm dreaming about. Believe me.
Okay.
No,
I don't know anything about him.
no,
I don't know
no,
anything
no,
about Charlie
no,
Brooker.
no. But his mind, I would love to entertain his mind over a dinner for a couple of hours. I really would. I would love to have a conversation with him. I just think he's brilliant. I really do. I like the way his mind works, you know. But no hall pass. Like I don't need that. But just so she's supposed to fall in love, but when Brandy gets up, like they have the piano playing happens to be a triggering event for the romance in the movie, and they've got to get the romance part started because it's a key element all the way through it, so that the computer stays on track, so to speak, so the technology can do what it needs to do. But so Brandy's like, oh, okay, she's used to doing modern movies, right, Kirk?
Yeah.
She's not worried about it. She don't know how to play piano, but she's not concerned. She figures they're just gonna overlay
Yeah,
a piano player.
yeah, she just goes up there and just starts hitting on a keyboard, starts
I
banging
bet she's
on it.
playing like chopsticks and like whatever, you know.
Yeah, because
And
she had to
Clara's
extend the
like,
scene.
yeah, and Clara's like, I said it was my favorite song, and you're just making fun of. She just thinks that Brandy's making fun of her the whole time. And she gets up all upset. And Clara's just like, I thought you were gonna overlay the song. She goes, no, you gotta follow her now. You gotta make her fall in love with you. How? She's mad at me, like whatever. So she has to go running after her. It was hysterical because like now they have to keep the scene going, you know.
Right,
So
because
she,
they got all the AI monitors to make sure the story's staying on track, that the other
mm-hmm,
characters are buying into it. It's almost like
yeah,
an audience reaction, like a market
but
survey.
yeah, when Clara looks at her and goes, "You're just making fun of me," like I'm done with this. She goes, "Stop it up." The red meter goes all the way up. Like, whoa, this is bad. This is not romance here. The romance meter went down, and the red, like the warning meter, went like all the
Yeah,
way up. And she doesn't know what to do. She's got to think on her feet. So they're like, "Just follow her. You got to like that's what they do in the movie. Just follow her. Like you're gonna do something." And so, you know, she ends up following her, and I forget how. Like they do end up out there. I forget how she gets her into the
you know,
conversation. Oh, this is how she gets her in the conversation. She's so flustered running down the hallway after Clara. And remember, she read everything about the actor who plays
oh
Cat.
yeah, 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 I remember now. Yeah,
She calls her by her real name, Dorothy, in the middle of the hallway and stops the character dead. The character, AI character, stops dead, hearing the name Dorothy, and turns around and says, "Why did you call me that?" But something changed in the AI, and that's like really important to the story. Like something on the fourth wall with the AI changed.
yeah, right.
Like as if there's some kind of connection to who she actually is. But it's really not a connection, I think, when I was thinking about it, to who she really was. It was a connection to what she was thinking and doing while she was making this movie and what was going on with her at the time, because
Yeah,
it kind of
right.
leads all up to that. So like she doesn't really know she's Dorothy, but she's starting to get these things that Dorothy, the actual actress, instead of the character Clara, was feeling at the time. And that just like she just scrambles and says, "No, I didn't mean it. You just remind me of someone like that." And then she has to tell her. And when she explains that she reminds her of somebody she knew like that, she's actually describing Dorothy, like
Exactly.
her. And
Because
so
she was watching the film takes, I want to say outtakes, but that's the wrong word for it. Like the screen trials,
the screen,
the
yeah,
screen
the screen
screen
test, where she
test,
does
screen
the
test.
phone
Yes,
thing. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and it was like it was just so well done. You see, like the blinking, like you almost like see like the brain, like the brain waves activating inside the character Clara at the time. Well, so they get it all back on track, but unbeknownst to them, while they're out there, the dog goes and drinks the poison drink.
the poison black rose.
Right. And the poison black rose was supposed to, the old lady was supposed to steal it and drink. It was supposed to still be on the table. And the lady in the original movie picks it up, drinks it, and she dies, which brings in the investigators and everything and causes the whole thing about the husband trying to murder her and like several other things that are supposed to happen in the movie. So
Right.
that triggering event gets all messed up. Something dies, but there's not going to be an investigation by the head of police over a dead dog.
Exactly.
And so everything gets a little crazy. Gets a little crazy there. But they do start a bit of a romantic connection in the garden and everything. But it doesn't go as far as it does in the original movie. But there is something there. But it's very
Right.
tenacious. It's not all the way there yet. But there's a connection, a friendship, a laughing, a connection of types. But it's a tenacious one. And it's on the side of Clara, the AI actress, that's actually holding back. And I actually think it's because of that Dorothy reference. I actually think that really messed it up more than we can think. Like
I
I
think
think she's
so,
having
and
issues.
she was fighting it back, and then also realizing that it is a forbidden love, especially in the 40s. She was looking at.
Mm-hmm.
No actress came out of the closet then.
Huge backstory to this whole episode. Huge backstory. It kind of ties it all in to where the actress Dorothy Chamber was in her mind while she was playing the character of Clara, which
Right.
is a huge love story with this, famous actor and everything who, whatever. So she's like holding back a little bit. She knows she's supposed to be romantically involved here, but she's like, whoa, wait a minute. They go in, the dog's dead. Kimmy is freaking out. All the bells and whistles are going off
Yeah,
because the
back in
dog
the
died
studio, it's
again.
all going haywire.
Again, they just got it back on track. The romance level was going up. They were making the connection. They were getting back on sequence. And then the dog dies. And then it all hell. They were like, well, how are you going to meet the investigator? And how are you going to do this? Like, the old lady's still alive and blah, 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 blah. But they got to bring it around to that. But before that, now I'm getting a little confused because then something else happens that delays everything. How exactly do they get all that?
What they did their montage,
Mm-hmm.
and then she sprains her ankle, which is a pivotal point that
Mm-hmm.
gets them both in her hotel room together, and that's where the true love is going to burst out
Right.
when they're
Mm-hmm.
together. And uh, Clara is a little bit rambunctious when she's wanting her leg felt up by the
Mm-hmm.
good doctor there. She wants her to keep going higher. And I forgot what crashes the system. It just crashes and everyone freezes.
And everything freezes. Like something. I know what the event. The tech, the guy Jack at the tech, he has a strict rule about no liquids in the place. But he brought coffee in that day, and he had it sitting
Okay.
next to his computer. And when the dog died and everything got upset, he got really upset, and he went over to do something, and he knocked the coffee into the key into the system, and the whole system went down, like down. They lost contact with Brandy. They were trying to get visuals. They were trying to do all this stuff. And now Brandy's stuck in there. Okay. We don't know that yet, but they start to talk about it. The system's
Right.
down. They're all panicking. They're talking about rewrites. They're talking about bringing it up. They're talking about losing time. Everybody's freaking out. Brandy can't hear anything. Brandy's like, am I supposed to let you film this? Because like she feels some romantic connection with
Right.
Clara also. And she's like, she wants me to go further. She wants to like, whoa, is this filmable? Like this is happening. What's going on? But then she realizes they're not talking to her anymore. Something's wrong. Like they're out of it. Like, and so all the time that they're trying to get them back, trying to get back in there, we learn that if the sequence doesn't follow all the way to the last words, the last scene, that Brandy, the actress, the real actress, Brandy Friday, will be stuck in there forever and her
Right.
body will die. Like they're not sure she can live in there. Okay. But we also go through this whole thing where Dorothy, with her sprained ankle and everything, and gets upset and everything, she's exploring herself. She actually steps out of
Right,
call it.
because she said, "Why are you?" They got in a little argument. Why are you sleeping on the couch? And
Mm-hmm.
she's like, "All the other rooms, you can't. They're not in the story. They don't exist."
Uh-huh. Because during this, Brandy actually tells Clara that this isn't real. She says, "Who are you yelling at?" Because Brandy got upset and was saying, "Kimmy, Kimmy, you're not talking. Who's Kimmy?" She's got to tell her about this whole thing. And she has to tell this character that she's falling like for and who's falling for her that she's not real. And the character is like, "What do you mean I'm not real? I'm as real as you. Like, I'm like, look, touch me. Like, whatever. I feel, you feel, like, all this." And she's trying to explain it to her. And she just thinks that she's again making fun of her and she doesn't know what she's talking
Right,
about. She's like, really, and she gets pissed and she leaves. But as she sleeps in a separate room, she sleeps downstairs. When she goes downstairs and sees her there, and then she goes outside and she breaks the veil, she walks through one of the doors that don't have anything on the other side and
hmm
gets and goes into that black room and starts to see everything that's in the computer. Because when you break the veil and you go in, it's like they made it seem like you're going into the bowels of the computer kind of thing, like
right.
very much like a Twilight Zone episode, like where everything swirls around and you get all of the knowledge of everything that's going on and it all hits you at once. So she remembers who
And she
she is
sees her real life flash before her eyes,
and the end of it.
and yeah, all the way to the end.
And why she feels the way she feels. She remembers being in love with the person on the set who was a woman who she constantly had to move away from to be with the lead actor or whatever, or to
Right,
hide it. She remembers the happiness she felt with her. She remembers the shame and the guilt of having anybody know. The secret of how the studio thought that if she came out, it would ruin her career and everything. In that one longing scene of her supposedly in her own home as herself during the movie process and just looking out the window and realizing that her life is never going to be her own and she's never going to be able to be who she really is devastating. And then it cuts to the scene with the pills and then all of the headlines. It's really, they did it quite, the montage you talk about is quite moving. Like I had to pause after that. I had to pause the watching it to
yeah, it
just
was pretty heavy.
it was really heavy. And I didn't want to go lightly forward. I wanted to absorb that. Like they made a great effort to make that so impactful. I think they did a fantastic job actually of that because you see it in her eyes in black and white. You see the glint in her eyes and the tears well up and you see the acknowledgement, like the way that they pan to her face and all. You literally see it. Absolutely fantastic acting on the part of the actor Emma Corrin on that. Like everything about this episode, what they're really focusing on is the acting, especially Corrin and Issa Rae in
Right,
this situation. So it to me that was really impactful. Like that's to me what Black Mirror when technology kicks you in the stomach when Charlie Brooker writes about technology and it kicks you in the stomach with an emotional revelation like every damn time. Like he constantly kicking me in the stomach with this stuff. But, but that's real entertainment, right, Kirk? I mean, that's what's beautiful about this series. It's real
it
entertainment.
is.
It makes you feel and respond. I mean, it's doing its job. Absolutely.
And full disclosure, I am not an anthology guy. I told you that before.
Hmm. He's
I'm,
not a fan. No, he's not a fan at all.
and it's like, oh, anthology. I really have to struggle to get into them. I like an overarching story, but this is changing my mind on anthologies lately.
Well, the beauty about Mirror is you don't have to think of it as an anthology because every single episode stands alone, except for the one time he's going to do a sequel at the end of this season.
Right.
Every episode stands alone. If it was a one-shot deal in the movie theater, it would do just as well as part of this series. I really believe that.
Yeah,
They
he's
are.
making an hour long movie each time he
Mm-hmm,
does an episode,
mm-hmm, yeah. And this
and
is
an
what I
original one at that. He's not reusing a lot of sets, and it's always taking place in different areas too. So I mean, that's impressive.
that's what when I talk about his creativity and his genius and all this, I always make sure I mention his team building capabilities on letting people that are good at what they do what they do. When he brings a director on and he brings a cinematologist on, he brings the actors on, he gives them the concept and he's actually letting them add to it instead of just doing it the way he sees it.
I got a bone to pick. I just looked up Charlie Brooker, and he's younger than me, and you called him an old man.
Okay, well, he's still an old
Uh,
English man to me, and
yeah, yeah.
he's
He
still
has
not
my
my type. I mean, he's got great humor in a brain, and that's my type. But there's just like no, he doesn't. I no, but this is I'm not one of those people that does the hall pass thing. I just don't.
yeah.
It,
Uh huh.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
he also writes for Kunk on Earth, which
Oh yeah, he was.
definitely has humor to it. So he knows humor.
He definitely knows humor, and he used to write for games in the beginning, and
Yeah, I'm
he's
looking
done an
through his
English series.
IMDb now because,
Yeah,
like I said, I
he,
don't know
he
much about him.
yeah he did a great he's done some English series before that, before Black Mirror and all.
Oh,
Um,
I'm my mother and I. We have our Acorn or BritBox subscription, one of the two rotating. So I was brought up on English series, which is why I
yeah,
can't spell gray correctly.
I do that. You know what? It's my damn tutors. I still put the U in stuff. I get made fun of all the time. And I know what crisp and chips, and I can keep all of that straight. I know the difference
Oh,
between biscuit and
this
cookie.
one time
I'm totally yeah.
I
Go
worked
ahead.
for a charter school, and they would send text their fax their that's how old I am fax their Friday test, but they were from the Emirates, which use British English, so it's like a spelling test. The kids are learning
Mhm.
English words all week. All of a sudden, they're throwing British spellings at them.
Do you mess up the S and the Z sometimes? 'Cause I still do that sometimes too, and I
Yeah,
get
I got
frustrated.
to think about it in certain words.
And I was an English major. Like, yeah, smack my head. Smack my head. And as I got older, I got away from it, like formal English writing, and so I just like lazily went back to my
Oh yeah,
youth.
plus you read Douglas Adams like me, so I mean you're just seeing British words anyways.
And my tutors were English and Australian. Like if me, as far as speaking the English language and not having like a my whole house, my Irish nan, like come on, like my whole house was European. Like, yeah, but I'm American. I'm Jersey through and through, with a little bit
Oh
of
yeah,
English flair, with a little bit of European flair. Let's just say that, just a little bit to drive everybody crazy. Well, back to poor Dorothy and Clara.
oh no,
She
now it's getting good with them because
yeah
now they're once she
that
breaks that fourth wall, she understands now
right,
and really starts to fall for
Brandy.
why am I
First of
Brandy?
all,
Yes.
Brandy. It's first of all, there's the only two living beings in a fake set of people that are frozen in position. Nothing moves. The food's all there, the drinks are there. They're like moving people. They're like playing around together. Like they're the only two living, and it's 6 months together to build this relationship. When they actually fell in love, like they have a
Right.
relationship now. It's just the two of them. They wake up together, they go to sleep together, and they enjoy everything together. They're entertaining each other. Um, it's beautiful, and they know that there's gonna be something wrong here. Like the technology could come back on, like they're waiting, and they start talking about this, and Brandy's telling her that like when it comes on, you may not remember anything. And like
Well,
Clara's just
she doesn't know that yet because that's when they don't know what happened on the outside. I mean, for all they know, they could have shut everything down and she's just stuck there.
yeah, true.
And
Well, then,
but
but then in bed, Kimmy's voice comes on. Whoop, not a good time either. But
yeah.
and and she goes, Kimmy, and then of course, like Dorothy knows who it is, because she's like, oh, is that them? And she goes, it's them, them. That was so brilliant the way they did that. I was like,
The them.
it's the them, it's the them. Like it's them, yes, it's them, yeah, them. I was like, oh god, this is good. It was like so big, like it just the them was such a big concept, just filled the whole room. and it was like doom and gloom all of a sudden, and anticipation. Like they don't know if they should be terrified, but the anticipation and the anxiety is overwhelming. And then Brandy gets the information that they're coming back online, but they have to get everything back on track so that they can get her out of there. She has to finish the movie. And she says, but if you reset, and he goes, we're going to reset. She goes, yes. And then, you know, Clara
She
slash
goes back
Dorothy
to, yeah,
isn't going to
her
react
last
anything.
save mode.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, she has to tell her that. And that is very, she loves her and she's going to disappear. But now she has to tell her she's going to disappear as if she's not real. And that was just like, oh my, like, I can't even imagine being in that situation.
Yeah, that would
Like,
be tough.
yeah. And so they reset, and now they've got to figure out how to make a investigator show up, because she has to have this scene with the main police officer, or the chief of police, to trigger another event that's going to happen so they can get to the ending. Because at the
Right.
ending is the key scene. She has to say these key words, the very romantic ending, and it's all prompted by discovering that her husband's trying to kill her and blah blah blah. So they have to set up this scene. So she tells her, I believe at this point, once they do the reset, that's when she starts to tell her that her husband's trying to kill her and blah blah blah. Actually, her husband
Right.
comes into the room with the two of them in there, right?
Right, he does after they
Mhm.
catch the scorpion, which will never ever kill anybody.
Mm-mm.
But that I'm
Well,
blaming on a 1940s movie.
it is based on a
It's
1940s
yeah,
film, so
it's typical 1940s. A scorpion can kill you. No, they can't.
Mhm. And so he comes in there, discovers them, and like she's trying to say him, he kicks him out of the room. He has to leave, and she's there with the husband. She's trying to let her know that the husband is trying to kill her, but she doesn't kind of believe it. Of course not. He's so wonderful. He's so wonderful. Um,
Yeah, so they tell her to go outside where they're discussing the murder, so she
mhm,
could overhear it, and then she
exactly.
could go to the police that way, saying she overheard them
Right.
discussing it.
Right. And she has to go there, and she has to tell them, and so she gets to meet the guy, okay, so that he sees who it is, so that when the other scene happens, he recognizes her as Dr. Alex Palmer, and the whole thing goes forward. All over a dead dog. And they talk about, oh, and when she goes in there, it's so funny because the old lady's in there. She's trying to get
Uh,
somebody to investigate her dead dog, and she actually goes in there and says, well, I want to see the chief of police because I actually know who killed that dead dog. Mhm.
exactly.
I actually know what happened. And it was kind of funny how that all kind of played out. It was a little humorous line to it. And just the way Brandy, Issa as Brandy playing the actress, just her facial expressions as she does all of this, it's kind of like, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm doing this. Like, I have to
Hmm.
do a good job. And they all just believe whatever I do. She kind of has this like nonchalant look sometimes on her face, like, I can't believe they're all falling for this. Like,
Right.
I'm not even giving 100%, and they're all just eating it up. Like, this is this is so weird. Like, she's, just like, the just the fact that everybody's moving around and they're not real people, and they're just acting like real people, responding like real people, and they're all AI simulated characters from the movie. It's just so weird. But she gets these looks on her face, like, and rolling her eyes and stuff. It's like great. I love that little bit of humor that she added
Right.
to it because it makes it real. Like, she's the whole time that this is happening to her, what really impressed me was that she's acting like any of us would have, like, blown away, but having to deal with it, not believing it's real, but it's real, and just doing the
Right.
best she can, and not being perfect about it, like messing up,
Yeah.
trying to
Put
fix
on your
it.
shocked face. And she has the world's absolute worst shocked face
Right. She
overhearing the
does.
murder plot.
Yeah, yeah. She's just like, but I knew about this. How am I supposed to be shocked? She's like, huh? Okay. Well, this is horrible. Yeah. So she gets to that point, and in the meanwhile, the husband is letting it known that he really does want the wife dead, huh?
Exactly.
Apparently, yeah. You could
He still
tell
wants
the
to kill her.
Yep. Do you remember this part? You want to say about like what happened? This is pretty dramatic too.
Yeah, they go to Plan C, which is the loose railing on the rooftop to
Hmm.
have her look at something and push her over. So the husband gets her up on the roof, and when Brandy leaves the police station, she tells them, "If you hear shooting, run across the street to the roof because that's where it'll be." Did I lose you?
Nope, I'm there.
Okay.
Yep, that's yep. And he's like trying to get her near the railing so she falls off and all of this and everything. And
Uh,
Brandy does go up to the roof.
right. Brandy goes up to the roof and he pulls a gun on her while trying to push her off, and Brandy fights him for the gun. And as they're still fighting, Claire picks up the gun and shoots the husband,
Yep. And
which
because the
completely
gunshot,
throws the story off.
right, because that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to die.
Because in the original movie, Alex is getting threatened by the guy and he threatens to shoot him, but the police show up before he can.
Right.
But that doesn't happen because now that Alex and the husband are fighting, Brandy as Alex, the character, Dr. Alex Palmer, are fighting like they are in the original movie, although the other one gets the gun and they back off and he's like going to get rid of him because he's
Right.
messing with the murder
But this
plot.
time Claire gets the gun.
She gets the gun and doesn't and wants to save Brandy. She's like, she's going to shoot. She shoots the husband dead. So now everything's a mess again. Meters are going off. Everything's going all over. And now because the gunshot went off, the police are coming. Okay.
Right, and they got to figure out what to do by the time the police get there. And Brandy decides, blame me for the murder. Give me the gun,
Right.
and I'll take the fall for it.
Because she has to have the police officer acknowledge her that he knows who she is, because that's part
Right.
of like setting the sequence going. And so if she has the gun, because he'll at least pay attention to her, blah blah whatever, and the scene could progress. There's a shot that it could go. There's a chance it'll move
It
forward.
could, yeah.
But they don't know it this time at all. Yeah. Um so she still has the gun though, right, Dorothy? When the
Right,
police
she still has the gun when the police get up there.
and you're talking about this, and this is going to move it forward, but the police get there before any decision is made, or they
Exactly.
go forward it, and they see her with the gun.
And they figure, well, she shot the husband. It's murder on the husband. And they shoot her.
Right, because they recognize the doctor.
That they didn't want to shoot the doctor because they knew the doctor.
They knew he was good. He came to report that the other guy was trying to kill her. And so she didn't put the gun down because she froze, and they shot her dead. They shot her. Well, she didn't die yet, but they shot her good.
She has a long, drawn-out death.
And they still haven't said the last words of the movie.
Right, and they got to get in there. And those last words are...
I'll love you forever. I don't know if I don't.
Forevermore.
Forevermore. Forevermore. Like the Raven. Nevermore.
Right.
Forever.
Well, that's evermore, but yeah, forevermore.
Yeah. And she says that, and then of course Brandy gets out. Clara dies. End scene. We don't know what happened.
Credits roll.
Credits roll, which was like amazing. I got to tell you something about the credits in a little bit.
Okay, so, I knew there had to be something in there, but
yeah, there is definitely. I've got so many. I don't know if you have any, but I have so many. I'm gonna have to run through them. But all right, so then, of course, it's not the end of the movie. Nope. I mean, not the end of the episode. It's the end of the movie that they're making. They all come out. It's successful. Boom, boom, boom. They're all blah, blah, blah. Great, great. Brandy comes out. They're worried about it at first, but she seems to be okay.
Yeah, even studio boss is like, it worked for me.
Yeah, it was so romantic at the end, the kissing, and there was real love between them. It was quite the romance. Like that was the goal, to remake this old movie in modern times with this technology to be just as romantic and impactful as it was in the 40s when it was originally done, because it was a classic. It was iconic the way they set it up. It was like one of the best ever. And and it just worked. Like everybody was just moist-eyed and just aghast when Brandy came through. But also Kimmy is fully aware, the assistant, Kimmy is fully aware that Brandy just had a very emotional and traumatic experience. She
Exactly.
just spent 6 months with an AI character that became human that she fell in love with, and she just lost it all. And it's very poignant because they really kind of brush it off. They don't want to pay too much attention to it. They
No,
don't
no,
want
it's because
to.
they weren't in there. To them, it's just a TV character.
Mm-hmm. But I think Kimmy kind of knows because she's just like 6 months, like wow, Um, and so they get it, and you see flashes that it's going to be really successful and all of this,
Yeah, there's
that
billboards up in
Springberry
Hollywood, cut to
all over.
modern day.
Yeah, yeah. They cut to a few months later, and she gets a package delivered from the studio, and inside is a little note that she can, connect.
Right,
She can talk to Dorothy. She can talk to Clara, Dorothy. And it cuts to that original screen
screen
test that you
test
were talking about, where Dorothy
has to
Chambers
pretend she's talking on a phone.
and she's laughing like this is so weird. There's nobody on the other end. Like, this is so weird. And she's laughing and she's having fun with it and just being charming, and the ingenue, like the 1940s beautiful ingenue actress, and they sent her this technology. It's a phone, and she puts this on and she's watching it, and she can talk to her. When the phone
Right.
rings, she's on the other end, and that's the ending. Like she gets to talk to her. Like
Yeah, she's
this is
like, I'll talk to you because you sound like you have a pleasant voice, and that
you have a pleasant voice. I have all the time in the
in the
world.
world.
It was like the best last line ever. Almost as good as the Evermore. The
Yeah,
I have all the time in the world. Like, it's like a new beginning, like for the two of them to like reconnect. It melted me. I was a puddle. It was very, just that little part was so romantic. Um, and I think it would help Brandy heal that they recognized that Kimmy recognized somebody from the studio recognized what happened to
yeah.
her. Yeah.
Finally, someone does something good with the technology to make someone happy.
Exactly. It was tragic and it tormented
Yeah,
her with this whole love that you can't
yeah,
have
yeah.
now and like
Because
boom.
from these
And
episodes I'm seeing, no one ever gets that happy ending, and finally, someone gets a
I'm
happy ending.
so glad you said that because that's exactly how that hit me. And I thought I was going to be the only one. Finally, after all those kicks in the stomach, somebody did something good with the technology for a change. Like humans didn't ruin it totally. They didn't ruin it totally. Like they didn't. It actually was really really nice.
Yeah,
Um,
it didn't come on with the subscriber you're trying to reach is unavailable, and then just fade to black.
that would be it. Or have you seen
Yeah,
the sale on our newspaper this week? You can get digital and firm copy. Like, no, it's like, or go on to one of those, like, in the other one where the advertising came into a person's
right.
house.
Yeah,
15 seconds, like from calming people. That would have been great. Well, now we get to talk for the last part. Here's one of my favorite parts: the Easter eggs. You know,
and you're up on me on this. The only one I recognize is Streamberry.
right? And that comes up twice, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could tell them when. Some people haven't watched it, and they're gonna.
It's the company that releases the movie at the end is Streamberry, so it's like a
Hmm.
Netflix Streamberry,
Hmm.
and her agent talks about Streamberry too.
Yeah, she says Pepe's here from Streamberry for your
Right?
appointment.
Yeah.
I'm like, Pepe, the green meme. What? No, not Pepe. Please, not Pepe. Like that's the first thing I thought. I went, "Oh, Charlie, you didn't," but he did. He did. Yeah, but there are so many. I'm glad you got those. First of all, when they go to Judith's office at Keyworth, like right, there are movie posters, and they're really good in the Black Mirror episodes. If there are movie posters available, here's the Easter egg clue. Always look. There's
Oh
always
yeah, yeah.
references.
I saw
Yeah,
Ryan
yeah,
Reynolds on one or two of them or something.
right.
I know I
Well, the
saw
right,
his
yeah,
name.
yeah. Well, there were three of them. One is actually a White Bear poster from White Bear, one of the episodes, and it says on the bottom of it, "Justice will be sweet, swift," which is the theme for the White Bear episode,
Okay.
totally. And then the second one says Haven Green. That's the code name. Here's how sneaky they get. Now that people are savvy about the Easter eggs, the directors and the cinematographers and the whole crew are involved in it. They are putting
Yeah,
things in
I
there
think
and not
I
telling Charlie about it because,
I'm willing to bet the box. If you saw, did you notice the address on the box at the end?
yeah, Juniper Lane. Yes,
Okay.
from San Junipero. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There were several San Junipero references in this episode. As a matter of fact, there's been San Junipero references in almost all of them to date so far, and
Okay.
Bandersnatch. Like it's getting really like I'm wondering which one's going to be in all of them because on well, let me just finish with the posters.
Go on.
Having Green is one of the posters behind her head. Having Green is the code name for the whole Black Mirror season 7 in production. They called it Project Having Green, which I thought was
Okay.
hysterical. So they actually put that in there. It's on the back of the back of the chairs and all when we see the post production stuff in other interviews and stuff.
Hmm.
Also, there's one called "Buck Up Doctor." That's a direct reference to the Black Museum episode of Black Mirror, and then there are the names Tony Cairns and Giselle Turner on the Haven Green poster, and that that is actually the editor for the USS Callister is Tony Karras, and actually Gisela Turner is the camera trainer on the episode of USS Callister Identity, like coming forward
Okay.
6. So they're actually people are actually inserting names of things, here and there. I don't even know if Charlie's aware until he sees it, like what they're doing, because they're really getting creative. We mentioned the end credits, right? All throughout the end credits of the movie they produced, right? Not the Black Mirror
Right.
episode, but the actual Hotel Reverie movie. All throughout it is actually the real names of the visual effects people for this series.
Okay. Because even
Their real
the
names.
girl who came up the back to the studio, the one girl reworks the story for them on the fly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and she asked, "Do I get a credit?" And they're like, "If it works."
Well, she wasn't in visual effects, but if she did, like,
Yeah.
maybe she would have. Like it was actually great. You said that there was a reference to the name to Doctor Who
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah. Because I said I caught this episode the same night I watched the Lux episode of Doctor Who where they get trapped in a movie. So I had a whole trapped in a movie theme going on for a
Mm-hmm.
night.
Yeah.
And uh, you said this was kind of written as a Doctor Who's episode. In a chat, you mentioned it. And the one character in the first season was her last name was Sunday, just like Brandy
Like
Friday, right?
like Brandy Friday. There you go.
Yeah.
That's very
Yes.
clever. Yeah, that is very clever. Um, one of the things, and I can actually bring this one up really quick. Hold on, like share screen. One that I found fascinating. They're always doing this. Um, one of the most common Easter eggs that you can find are when they show you screens. Okay, this was when Brandy was searching about Dorothy Chambers. Okay,
Uh huh.
and all of these on the side here, right? Searching for Dorothy's like the name Lacey's gone loopy down at the bottom there. That's a definite going to nosedive. Demon
Okay.
79 is mentioned. Space Fleet is mentioned from USS Callister. Also in the researchers, Pia and Davis from Loch Henry are some of the commenters that put out the post. And the first one, it says Waldo Moments is the actual person who posted the video. It's just like they always have little things like that. They're so small. If they pull up a screen where people are actually commenting and stuff, there's definitely going to be one in there. Either Charlie telling us to unpause and carry on with the show, or some other character name or some reference somehow to something to one of the Black Mirror episodes. It's like
Okay. I
just
see.
fascinating. I decided to tell people because when Culture Cats he came on, Cats came on, and he says, I found a few, but like you have so many. And I'm like, well, I found some my own, but I also read other articles that show some of them. And then I always read what Charlie has to say about it. And sometimes he tells us too. And then I've just developed the technique of where to look, and I'm noticing a pattern of like how these things occur. Not that it'll always be,
Right. I always wonder that when I see stuff like this on any TV show. It's like, I wonder if there's an Easter egg, like a shout out to someone in the credits there or something.
there are so many. Just the name of the character, Alex Palmer, is a direct reference to Common People, because the two main characters go to, of course, Juniper Lodge, another reference to San Junipero, but it's in Palmer County, and they show us the Palmer County sign when they're driving there, and how I know. Redream itself, the technology, is made by Tucker from Bandersnatch, Tucker Industry, that made the game in
Okay.
Bandersnatch for We Got Though. Another Bandersnatch reference, the damn Bandersnatch book, same one that was in Bete Noir, what Verity had. There's a Bandersnatch book on the desk of Jack, the computer geek. And the computer geek is wearing a shirt for Space Fleet. He's wearing a Space
Okay.
Fleet shirt. I'm like, that's a little obvious, Charlie. Like, he's wearing a damn shirt. Um, he has the Bandersnatch word. You did the Brandy's in Brandy's house. There's a poster. Now this one was a little more obscure. I did not find this one myself. I read about this one through an article about Charlie Brooker. But there's a poster in Brandy's house called Zodiac Suite, and it has
Right.
a timeline of May 13th through July 12th for when it's going to appear.
Right. I
That's
saw. Remember
the
that.
that's the exact date she was trapped inside the movie.
Oh.
Isn't that weird? You know,
Yeah.
it's also the same dates that are in a newspaper article about Dorothy Chambers that she looked at. It like appears. It's kind of weird. Yep. All the manufacturers, one of them has a sticker on Tucker, but they were all manufactured by Tucker Industry that were used to make
No.
the series, and those are the same computers that were used in San Junipero in playtest.
Okay. Here's a weird thought. While they're trapped in there for the 6 months, did Dorothy outlive her death? Because did they ever say like how close the death was to this movie, or
No, I
was
don't think
that
she did outlive it, because July 13th through I mean May 13th through July 2nd is mentioned, and I think that is the time she was making that movie, because it's in one of the articles, but it doesn't tell
okay?
me which article
Okay.
it is. But that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
That
I just
might
had
be
that
it.
thought now. It's like that you brought up these dates, and it's
Mhm,
like, oh, did she outlive her death? And that's how she was able to see what happened to her? Something like that. I don't know.
mhm. The other thing about the Dorothy headlines is that it says that she's working on films. And here's another Sandra. The actress herself, Emma Corrin, actually brought these San Junipero uh, uh, references up because they really meant something to her. And I'll tell you why in a moment. But she went on to say that I found this in her article. I didn't find it myself. But when you look at the articles, it says what she was working on. Her famous film was Saint Juniper. Okay. And the next one was called My Kingdom for a Pig, which is gotta be a direct reference to National Anthem, the
To
first Black Mirror with the pig. And
Yeah,
they
that one I remember.
yeah. Yeah, that episode stopped more people from watching Black Mirror forward than I can count. Like, separately. So bad that they actually switched it when it came to America. It was
See,
episode
but I
two.
thought it was all going to be that episode. Then I got mad when it was a different episode. I'm like, oh, it's an anthology. I was really more interested in
No, you
just that
wanted to
whole.
know what happened. You wanted to know
Yeah.
what happened afterwards. Like, yeah, it was weird. It was like totally different. Yeah, yeah. Then we get 15 million miles, right? Like, and I'm like, what? What's this? This is totally different. Yeah, but no, that's all I have. That's a lot,
Okay.
though. But let me tell you about what the actress said though about doing this film and the references to San Juniper, about the whole of female relationship thing, and about the breaking of bonds, and the references to San Juniper, which was also a love story about two females who couldn't be together based on their time and were denying who they were, but then found in another world a ability to be together and be themselves. And she said it was so freeing to just the idea that this character had a second chance to be who she was after she absolutely thought she couldn't be and ended her life, and that she actually got to experience love free like that, to be who she was, accepted, because Brandy didn't hide it, and there was nobody there to tell them they couldn't. Nobody gave them stares. Everybody was a frozen AI at the time, and she, the complete freedom of it. And I hadn't
Right.
thought about that. I hadn't thought about that for the AI character. That what
Yeah, you know
a
what? That is true. Yeah, she wasn't feeling judged.
Exactly. So, what a healing process that was for the AI character. If you're going to go into the afterworld after that, at least that was a healing process that happened. And then the same thing with Brandy when she gets to talk to her on the phone. Like now she can heal. She gets to speak to her again, and she can go through the grief process and heal, a little bit. I thought that was nice that they put those touches in there. But, it was the actress who actually was playing Clara and Dorothy that brought that forward. I hadn't thought of it until she said it. Like, and I was like,
Right.
wow,
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty monumental. you know, there's a I'm trying to see. All right, I'll get rid of this. And there were a few things that Charlie had to say that I wanted to just tell you before we end up. Um,
Okay.
we've talked about the cinematic style. I mean,
Right, and that's all on the director, Wang,
mhm.
Haolu Wang.
Yeah, it was that director. Yes, absolutely. It was kind of done like they're kind of people are referring it to like a Casablanca in the or brief encounter kind of like films.
Right.
Just actually trying to bring that all forward. But Wang actually has always talked about AI's impact on creativity. So I have seen so many negative comments that he's made about it. I was literally gobsmacked that he did this. But
Yeah,
the fact that he did this with Charlie Brooker means that he thinks it was done right. He
I
thinks it
think
was
so.
done
Yeah, if he said something
right.
like that, especially that he let the happy ending go too.
hmm he actually said that he has concerns about AI's impact on creativity, stating that I mean it's a she, by the way. I'm sorry. She states that she hopes the episode will make viewers realize that AI is terrible for creativity, absolutely the worst thing for creativity. So she's actually signed on here thinking they did it right because they're showing the perils of the real versus the not real and how the lines can get muddied and things just go bad. Like, no, it's not supposed to be like that. Like, it's got to be one or the other. Like, you can't
Right.
you can't do it like together very well. Charlie himself likes to think of it as a spiritual sequel to San Junipero. He made clear reference to the same genre lines of them not being able to be together, of society being against it, of Brandy being so open about it and accepting because she's from the future,
Right.
and Clara having to deal with that she can't, but Brandy having total understanding of what that is because she knows the history of it, she knows the progression of it, she knows how it used to be. She didn't live it, but she knows of it. And he said it's definitely like a spiritual sequel, not a sequel, but as long as like how he wanted it to feel and the topic it deals with, it would be considered a sequel in that way. He said it was similar themes of love and what he calls digital consciousness because remember they were elderly going off into
Right.
their life, being able to pick their age and beautiful sentiment that they wanted to spend the rest of their days in who they wanted to be at what time in their life forever. It was new technology in not bringing their aging bodies with them, but going into their prime. They get to pick the decade or the time at when they were at their best. Um, so it was like he actually thought it was going to be a horror film at first. Can you believe it?
Really.
He said it was going to be about someone restoring an old film footage and communicating with people within it, and it was going to be a horror one. It was going to be like, watching,
Oh,
yeah, something pretty, like there was not going to be like
yeah, like
romantic. It
more
was
of
going
an,
to
and then there was none, or yeah,
Yeah,
type
and
thing.
how the
Like,
plot kept changing, and everything, but it was going to be total horror. And then he said brief encounter, and he shifted the whole thing around into a romantic drama, blending both ideas, the horror of the plot changing and the technology interfering with things, and the trap of it, the technology itself, and then the romanticism of San Junipero in a romantic drama. you know um he said he actually knew from the start exactly what the ending would be.
that's good.
And he said he wanted from the start a bittersweet ending to where Dorothy and Brandy, as characters, would have a long distance relationship. And he said that's my nod to the modern world. And that spoke to me because I have many friends who are long distance. They don't live near me. I can't just go next door and have a cup of coffee with them. I connect with them through the internet, like thousands of miles away, like we are now, right? And
Yeah,
that was a total nod to what it's like in 2025 for relationships of all levels,
yeah, but poor Dorothy, she can't see Brandy. Brandy can see Dorothy, but Dorothy's on a 1940s phone.
Yeah, but think about that. Think about you and I sitting up here right now and nobody can see us. But the voice
Right.
is an amazing thing. Without seeing us, they can see when we're happy, when joy, when we're annoyed, what we're expressing. The voice is an amazing thing. So, like, I could see them having an online relationship with
Oh,
just
yeah, I see it too, but it's just a little bit unfair.
Hmm. But maybe we don't know she can't see it. Well, yes, we do because it's 1940 where she is.
Yeah,
She can't see her. There's no way. There's no two way. Yeah, there's no two way.
exactly.
Yeah. So wow. So this was great. Like I don't know. You got anything else that stuck out to you that you want to talk about
No,
it?
I think you got everything. And like I said, she called out the problems she was going to have. So,
Hmm.
and the Scorpion plot and dropping the USB, who Jinju agrees with me that a micro SD maybe, but not a full size one.
Exactly. It you know what? That's all true too. That shows like how much you're paying attention to detail when you're watching it. And that means that the episodes got you at least. Yeah. I love how interactive these episodes are. Like they always make me feel and think they total true entertainment. That's why I shout it out as much as I do. Because so often like think of all the things we consume on a daily basis as far as entertainment, YouTube videos and reading articles and this that and the other thing, like how much really just lays on us on the surface. It
Right.
just Yeah, Black Mirror cannot lay on you on the surface. It just can't. There's always something. It affects you in some kind of way. Like people love it or hate it, and I'm glad that you weren't a complete fan because you looked at it with new eyes for me. you
Right.
know
I'm not a nut like you about the show. I enjoy it. I'm one of those people. I enjoy whatever I can get of something. Like I won't say something sold out. I enjoyed all the other Star Wars movies. I like
hmm
the new Doctor Who. I don't care because it's giving me that need for Star Wars and Doctor Who, which I want.
hmm hmm and you know what, but hearing you talk about it, you got it. Like you actually got everything Charlie was putting out there, and that like reaffirms for me, not that I am, that I do have reason to praise him so much. Like you got it, even not being a fan. Like you just got everything he was laying out, which makes it first time you see it, second time you see it, 100 times you see it. Um, that's the thing about his episodes. Like and they're also rewatchable, no matter when you watch them in what
Right.
order. They're
Didn't
great.
Penn Jillette do an episode in like season 1 or 2? I remember it's like an old sideshow museum about taking
Was that
pain.
that was Black? Um, wasn't that in Black Museum?
Yeah, maybe
Um,
that was it. Yeah. How much
uh,
pain you could take. He gets
I
turned
can
on
tell
by.
you in it. Yeah, he was in Black Museum. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's, yeah.
It's called the original. It was called Pain Addict, a story based on something else, in a doctor who gets addicted to pain and all of that. And he turned it into Black Museum. Yeah. So it comes from an original story. You're right. See, look at you, historian. Yeah. Hmm. Which doctor?
Well,
Oh, David Tennant. I'm so glad you just said
yeah,
that. Now we're bonded for life. Now we
yeah.
did
David
Nightmare
Tennant, then
together.
Tom. Yeah, then
And
Tom Baker. It
David
was.
Tennant is the best doctor, hands down. I don't care. Like, I don't care. Best. The other one, Tom's great. Smith is great, but Tennant has it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually like him. I love the new series he was doing too. Oh, based on the
Uh,
vampire guy. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Oh,
Hey, did
Good
you watch him
Omens.
now in Broadchurch?
Yes, I did. He was
Yeah,
fantastic.
that was.
I'm
Yeah,
a
that
I'm
was.
I'm a big Tennant fan. Like, he can't
Yeah,
do
I.
anything I'm gonna not like. I don't think.
There
I
was
just
another one where he played a killer. Someone in the basement. What?
Oh, he played that Psycho. Oh gosh, what's the
Yeah,
name of that one?
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I don't know that many people that saw that one. That's good. Okay. Yeah. And you know what, Mrs. Cassandra, you're right. Charlie Brooker is a handsome man. I'm just like, I don't know. I
And
just want
not that old. And not that
he's
old.
not he's not that old. Yeah, okay. He's not that old. He's not old at all. I just refer to him as the old Englishman.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You said Old Englishman. I'm expecting to see Sean Connery.
Now, wait a minute. He might be a hall pass. Like, that's a whole different story. Like, that's a whole different thing. Like, it's whole different. That's totally different. Okay. Anyway, enough of that. But thank you so much for doing this with me. I
Oh,
had a
thanks
blast.
for having me.
Oh
And
my
if one of
god.
your mods could drop my channel in the chat, I'd appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Like, it's right here in the description. Let me just pull it up, and I can actually drop it myself.
And we have what's coming
Tell them
out.
what you do there. Tell them what you do there.
Yep,
Yeah.
I make a reformed scammer from Ghana. Listen to 80s music, 80s, 90s, 2000, whatever I decide like. And it's a reaction channel, and it's definitely a true first reaction because very few songs has she heard. She heard a little bit of Jumpin' Jack Flash because she's from Accra, Ghana, which is kind of the tourist town. So you hear a little bit more modern music or popular music. But
Mhm.
yep, you get a true first reaction, and we reworked it a little bit. So it's starting Tuesday when we do Straight to Hell by The Clash, a different way of having us work the reactions.
Mhm. Thank you, Shill, but that's Chris. This is not Chris. This is Kirk. This is Mr. Mayotte from West Side
My
Reacts.
lord, say it
My lord,
correctly. You're
I
gonna have to
know
say.
it.
You're gonna go
I
to hell
am.
with the new pope.
Tell
You
them.
better.
I know the new Pope is from Chicago, and the first thing he told me is, it's going to be the wine over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all you Catholics out there are gonna get Malort
All
instead
right.
of
So it's
communion wine.
Malort. It's Malort. It's Malort.
Right,
Okay.
Malort.
Malort. Okay. I'm probably going to mispronounce it for the rest of my life. Oh my God. I was about to go snatch it, but I'm too fast. Mrs. Cassandra, thank you. I just wanted to make sure it's in the description. Everybody check it out. It's really entertaining. I mean, it's music. How can you go wrong? You get to hear some great classics, and it's really fun. So I hope you get some subs. I hope you get some more viewers over there for it. When's the next one coming again? Like,
Tuesday
when
we
you?
Tuesday Straight to Hell,
Mhm.
and then after that we did another Pogues song because I'm a major Pogues fan. So the
Ah,
Broad
I like the
Majestic
Pogues.
Shannon.
All right, that's going to be interesting. All right, so everybody catch them there. Thank you again, Kirk, for doing this.
Oh,
Thank you,
thank you for
everybody.
having me, Claire.
Well, thanks everybody who showed up to talk in the chat. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry we ruined it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I warned you, like, we ruin
Yeah,
it good.
you
We go
said
in.
spoilers are good.
Yeah, we go in. Like, I ruin it. I actually have another series for movies and series and stuff that says Claire ruins viewing for everyone. Like, just take, like, yes, we're just gonna ruin it. We're gonna talk about it, take it apart, tell them the whole thing, and it was so much fun. It was
Oh,
so
and
much fun.
speaking of cinematography, I don't know if you saw Sinners,
Yeah.
but there's 10 minutes of the best cinematography I've ever seen in the movie Sinners. I'll
Oh,
just leave
okay.
it at that. If you're a fan of
I'm gonna watch
cinematography,
it. I'm gonna watch it, and then I'll get back to you on what I think those best 10 minutes are, because I'm always talking about that. Like, there was that movie, The 300. right?
Yeah.
Black, white with just that little bit of red.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Absolutely fantastic. And that other one that they did like cartoon style that wasn't cartoon style. What was that called? Um,
Uh,
but that was worse. Like, but the 300, the way they emphasized certain
oh,
things in it.
the Vegas movies. I know what you're.
Yeah,
Bruce
you know what
Willis.
I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yep. And it
Sin
was like
City. Sin City.
Sin City. Like that was cinematography. Like that was whoop. I was like, that was
And
good.
I'm a Ralph Bashki fan too.
Okay. Sounds cool. Well, I'm gonna watch Sinners again and get back to you on those bits on the 10 minutes. I'm wondering if we have the same ones. Probably, you know.
Probably.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for joining us. And anybody who's interested in doing episode 4 or 6, hit me up. As Kirk will tell you, I'm harmless up here. Like it's really not so bad.
Mostly harmless. Stanley Douglas Adams thing.
That's mostly harmless because of Douglas Adams, absolutely. But please, don't be shy. Come on, follow, join me. You don't have to love it. We just have to talk about it. Like I'm open. I'm open. Whether you've seen them before or not, all you have to do is watch the episode once. All right. On that, I'm gonna say goodnight. Thank you again, Kirk. I look forward to doing
Thank
something
you.
else. Now that I'm doing that Ruin series, like maybe we should.
Oh, I'll always jump on with that. Yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
TV
that's
movie
fun.
nut. So if you
Yeah,
TV's,
yeah.
movies, music, I mean, if you need someone, give me a shout.
You know what? I will. I have it tabled right now because like right now things are really crazy. I'm doing the 50th law once a week. I want to finish the Black Mirror, and I got trials going on that really take so much time,
Right.
right? Once the trials go down, then I'm only doing true crime one night a week. It gets a little easier. Then I can go on other people's shows again and do some more fun stuff. But I'll definitely put you on the list for that. I have a list of people I like to do that with, and this was fun. I think it'd be great. We could ruin another show soon.
Definitely.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.